Hey everybody, this is Neal Black.
I'm Janet Martin.
And we're here today to talk about Savarez guitar strings and our new tour. And we've got some new records that are
coming out soon.
And,
yeah.
Lots of big news for everybody watching Savarez TV.
On the seventh night when the moon is blue, and a black crow flies in the morning too, and a Cadillac that I stole for you. Well, head on down the Black Bayou, head on down the Black Bayou.
So we've got a tour coming up with Janet and myself, Neal Black Janet Martin Blues Review Tour. We're going across Europe.
For the upcoming tour, we're going to be doing songs of Neal's, songs that I've written, and songs that we've written together.
The thing that's going to be different on this tour that's different from the typical Neal Black concerts is with Janet, we do stuff, especially on this tour, we're going to try to incorporate more of the acoustic style blues. You know, the mix of our two styles I think is really interesting because she specializes in slide, not only slide of course, but that combination with the way I play is really, you know, nice mix, I think.
We play similarly, but we also play very differently. And when I'm playing with Neal, I really enjoy. Neal is quite an arpeggio, incredible, you know, with licks, you know, and I love that. I don't play like that. That's not my style, and so I always enjoy that. And I just, for what I do, it's more. I think our backgrounds are similar too, but I've got a lot of gospel, bluegrass, blues, and so I'm kind of coming from that arena, so to speak, in my, you know, approach when I'm playing. And with slide, you know, my first slide experience was learning pretty much Muddy Waters slide playing, a lot of Bonnie Raitt influence, but But I always enjoy the energy that we have together on stage. It's great. It's fun.
Yeah, goodbye, babe. I hate to see you go. Yeah, goodbye, babe. I hate to see you go. Lord, you know you hurt me so.
And the name of the album is Wherever the Road Takes Me, the best of 30 years on Dixiefrog Records. Released as a double vinyl and double CD format. Some previously unreleased live tracks for all the Neal Black Inhalers, super fans, super collectors. And the rest of the album is my choices of what my favorite songs were over the last 30 years that I've recorded music for Dixiefrog Records.
A hardship scar on his face, he walks a little straight. Yeah, $1 million cash in his pocket is all in small change.
On the album, there's many of the special guests that have performed with me since the beginning of my career, and some of the tracks that have not been released in 20 plus years are re-released on this Best Of edition, particularly the first two albums that have been out of print for a long time, that have some special guests on there, like Gerardo Velez, who is the percussionist on my first album. He was the percussionist for Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock, and Harvey Brooks, who is a bass player on my first and second album. He was the bass player for Bob Dylan and Miles Davis, Super Session. He was also bassist for The Doors on some of their recording tracks. So there are a lot of great special guests: Fred Chapelier, Nico Wayne Toussaint, and Robin Ford, other special guests. So it's a great bonus live package with kind of the history of Neal Black at Dixiefrog. Yeah, and Dixiefrog Records is probably, actually is the most well-known blues and roots label in France, and certainly one of the top 3 in Europe. So for any artist to be affiliated with this kind of label, for me it's a big honor to have worked with Dixiefrog over the past 30 years. It's rare that you see that an artist stays with a record label that long. And thank God they kept me that long, because it's extremely hard to find record deals for artists, especially of this style of music. So for me, I would like to say thanks to Dixiefrog, to everybody, the new team and the old team, for keeping me on so long. It's been a real pleasure.
I have a new recording that will be coming out hopefully within the next 6 months. I started the recording back home in the States, and it's half finished, and I plan to finish it here in France. I am moving here. I'm going to settle down in France. I don't know for how long, but I'm sure I'm going to find inspiration and the creativity to get the album finished here. I love France. I fell in love with it the first time I came, and when I met Neal in 2004, and I've loved it ever since. And I've always had a dream to come live here, and so I'm going to try it. It's a lot of blues, some singer-songwriter genre. I've got some country blues, some heavier blues. It's going to be a very different recording from my last record, which came out in 2016, very acoustic, or more acoustic-oriented and singer-songwriter. And this recording is going to be more, it's got more blues, and so the direction's a little different, but not entirely. The next 5 or 6 tracks that I'm going to record, I'm hoping, maybe Neal and I can collaborate and work on
absolutely.
That together, because again, I'm not sure where I'm going to finish the recording, but I'm going to figure that out.
Those who love the least ain't gonna win. Those who love the least ain't gonna win. Those who love the least ain't gonna win. Not this time, not this time, yeah, yeah.
Strings, of course, I'm using Savarez on my electrics, depending on the guitar. And so for the Fender guitars, I'm using a 9 to 42 Focus set. And I'm using the same type of set Focus on the Les Pauls, but a 10 to 46 seems to be more comfortable with a short scale neck. And of course, I'm very happy also with the Savarez strings for my acoustic guitars, because I can leave the guitars out for a long time without the strings feeling dead and flat sounding. And so I've been working with Savarez strings and endorsing their products for at least the past 3+ years. And it's been a real pleasure. I've introduced several American artists to the product, and one of them was Van Wilkes from Texas.
Where am I seeing when I'm seeing in my neighborhood?
And also here, of course, Janet Martin.
Yeah.
So she's going to tell you a little bit about her feelings with Savarez.
Well, I'm excited, of course, and honored to be using Savarez strings and be a member of the Savarez family. It's brand new for me, actually this year, starting in January. So the relationship's new, and So I'm just getting acquainted, of course, with the strings that I prefer, and it's for acoustic and electric, and I've got 2 or 3 different gauges for acoustic and electric, so I have not chosen my favorite gauge, but I'm real happy, and they sound great. But so far, I love the product, and I'm very happy to be a part of the family. So. Well, one thing, when you're playing slide, that I've actually taught some slide guitar lessons over the years, and one thing that I always like to point out immediately is that if you, the first thing that happens when people pick up a slide, usually on guitar, and they think, oh God, it's so loud and noisy, you know, is to dampen it behind the slide with your. I have to, first of all, I have very small hands, so I have to play with the slide on my middle finger. Most players are going to play here or here. For me, it's here. But when you start sliding, you want to dampen behind the slide so that you get a cleaner and fuller sound instead of it being very noisy and sloppy sounding behind the slide. That does help doing that, so because it can be very noisy. The first time you pick up a slide, it's like, whoa. Another good point when you're picking up slide to play, you want to make sure that you're right on top of the fret. You don't want to be in between frets with the slide. You want to be right on the fret. Because even the slightest bit off of the top of the fret, it'll take you out of tune, and it gets really sour sounding. So stay right on top of that, right on top of the fret when you're sliding. You'll get a nice, it'll sound so much sweeter.
Yeah, I've been using these thumb picks over the last 10 years. Just for something different and out of necessity at one point. But if you're using that and you start, I can play with a flat pick again. I had lost the ability to play with a flat pick for a few years. I can play with a flat pick again, but I spent so much time learning how to play with this thumb pick that I actually like it better. It's a much more original approach to the guitar. For example, if I'm doing something like, all of that is, I'm using the 3 fingers to get that instead of doing it. Well, they're naturally, I'm going to finger picking it instead of picking it. So it has a different sound, it's got a different texture, and I can get a lot more things happening. So I'm mixing up using both the fingers and the thumb pick as a flat pick. But one of the most important things that I do this differently than other guitarists is I lead with the small finger a lot. And the fourth finger is as important to me as the first finger in the technique that I use. It keeps me, with very little movement, I can get so much more than what a typical 3-finger approach would give me, for example. All of that, I haven't moved out of 5th position, and I've got all that right. By concentrating on the 4th finger. And a lot of guitarists would think of this approach. And physically, in the economics of the physical movement, it's much less efficient to use the standard 3-finger approach. If you see, I'm in the 5th position with absolutely no movement. So for me, the thing that I do differently than other guitarists is not so much the thumb pick as much as the left hand. So just wanted to say thanks to everybody watching, and especially a big thanks to Savarez for working with me and Janet. really a pleasure, really been a pleasure to be a part of the Savarez family. The new record on Dixiefrog Records is called Wherever the Road Takes Me. A bunch of great special guests. And Jan's going to let you know about our tour coming up.
We're touring, and you can find the dates on both of our websites, janetmartin.com, nealblack.net. And yeah, we're excited and looking forward to it. And we are coming to you from Music Change in Vienna. It's just south of Lyon.
So big thanks to
thank you.
Savarez, Ninat Productions, and Music Change Vienna.